Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video, and in this video we're going to talk about my build and how I utilize the Zenkai Awakening for Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, and we're going to see, well, how he does in some combat in the 50s rank. So gotta still work my way up, plan on playing a lot of PvP today. But yeah, basically we are taking a look at Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, and his Zenkai was pretty good. Overall, his abilities got a really nice rework. For the most part, a lot of them got some nice upgrades. Divine Black Kamehameha is an AoE special move that will deal some pretty good damage. It also nullifies own unfavorable element factors for 3 timers upon activation. So you can use this guy against yellow enemies and it should be more than fine. He has Divine Cannon, his special ability, which will give increased damage inflicted and also add 30% to the duration of bleeds, heavy bleeds and extreme bleed effects, which combos nicely with the strike cards, which have a 100% chance to guarantee bleed. He then has Ultimate Divine Dance as well, which will do increased damage dependent on how many enemies are left, and also features his LF finish, which is obviously quite a noticeable ability if you are looking from a stylistic perspective. His main ability is increasing of his health by 30% and key restoration of 50. He also gains a attribute upgrade, minus 100% enemy sustained damage CUT effects for 30 timer counts. He also draws Ultra Divine Dance next, and he will cancel his own attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions. He then has some pretty interesting unique abilities, which I think for the most part are fairly solid and I think are relatively quite reliable. He has Wrathful Castigation, Purging Blades, which is really good in terms of his ability to nullify enemy health restoration factors when this character attacks, which is super duper helpful. He can also reduce your opponent's Dragon Balls, which is pretty good. He also has an Intercept and Cover Change. Then he has Herald Rush, or Herald of Ruthlessness. I can't really remember, but basically it randomly destroys 2 cards if your enemy performs a cover while you are on the field, and reduces the enemy's key as well, and you will gain some additional factors depending on once an attack is finished. He then also has a God's Rage, which gives plus 15% to strike damage inflicted, damage reduction 15% received, and 30% to key recovery when he enters the battlefield, which is pretty good, and also inflicts some debuffs on the enemy based on how he enters the battlefield. In terms of a team, I like running him on any God Key team, but you can run him on God Key Future, anything with the lead skill basically, but ideally God Key or Future based on the equipment that he uses. I like to use Foolish Mortals, which is a pretty strong defensive equip that you can use depending on if you're running a future-based team or a God Key-based team. Right now I'm using Me the Invincible, the Almighty, which is a hugely defensive upgrade that gives him a lot of health and health restoration, which is quite helpful. And I like to use the Awakened You Stay Here #1, which gives him quite a lot of strike attack based on each tag future category character, which if you're running a future team is pretty helpful. Some alternative pieces of gear that you can run is the latest purple God Key equip, Irrepressible Power, which gives him defense but also gives special move damage, and can replace the middle one, or it can replace obviously the Future Gohan equip as well. Power Unleashed is also an okay equip, however it does feature blast attack, which I don't necessarily suggest. And you can obviously go for either the Awakened Whis, which will give you blast attack but critical, which is helpful, or you can go for the Korin, which will give you some strike attack and is better on a God Key team. So some suitable replacement equips depending on what you're feeling like and what your team build is, but this is kind of what I like to go with. And yeah, now to try him out in some matches. So pretty simple with this guy. What you ideally want to do is you want to hit them with your special skill, which will increase your damage done to them, which is obviously super duper helpful. Then after that you can either inflict them with a whole bunch of status bleeds with your strike arts cards, or you can then hit them with your special move, which should increase the damage done and then will increase the damage done to the bench characters. A couple special moves from Goku Black can really reduce the bench characters of your opposition and can really help you out quite a lot. So consider when you use it, because he doesn't really have a huge window to use it in, he doesn't really have a small window to use it in, because the move will nullify unfavorable element factors. So you don't have to wait until a green unit pops out. You can just go for it. Obviously it'll be type neutral, it won't have advantageous damage, but it'll still be pretty good, especially if you've managed to hit his special skill beforehand. We're going to be trying him out in 2 matches, so hopefully that's enough to see how good he is. But yeah, we're going to be trying him out in 2 matches here. Our team is heavily strike oriented. We want to have as many strike cards as possible. Strike is currently the strongest team or kind of functionality in the meta right now, so it shouldn't be too bad. And yeah, basically we're just going to be giving it a go. Not too concerned with winning or losing, just kind of want to get a good performance out of Goku Rose, and I think if I can do that, then that's a good sign. I actually haven't even applied the Zenkai to my red Goku Rose, so the team is lacking quite a few of its tools. I am working on it. I am also working on equipment for the other 2, so just bear with me if you see them take a little bit more damage than you think they should. But yeah, overall, team functions pretty nicely. Lots of healing, lots of self-sustain here. And you can see now we can get Goku Black involved. Our first stack of guaranteed bleed, which is really awesome. We increase our bleed duration. We're now going to hit him with a special skill, so that's going to do some good damage. And yeah, you can see immediately a little bit of damage to the bench there. Nothing too crazy. Mistimed the special, which is a bit of a shame. Nothing too crazy here. And then we get the blast attack, which is pretty good. And now we're going to cut in with another melee. We're going to hit him with another special skill. And you can see how much damage it does do, because it doesn't have unfavorable element factors. So you can immediately see that big damage coming through. And all of a sudden the bench takes a lot of damage. Gogeta's damaged, Vegito is damaged, and all of a sudden you've kind of evened up the odds a little bit, which is really, really great. So yeah, some good stuff, I would say, across the board. We don't get lucky enough to win, unfortunately, here, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, overall I would say some pretty good stuff from the team, especially from Goku Black there. I mean, you could see how much damage he did overall, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, I think when you look at it, you look at how much damage he could do to the bench. He basically chunked the Int Vegito completely, chunked Oob completely pretty much, and did half health damage to Vegito just through the process of having his ultimate skills. I was a bit silly here by going with the ultimate skill. I should have gone with the melee and then into the ultimate skill, but it's okay. Yeah, this happens. It's not really a huge issue, so it's not like a major problem. Overall, obviously, it's just something you want to be aware of. And we got Rising Rush, which is obviously a little bit of a shame, but hey, yeah, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it was a pretty good first match here. I think Gogeta, I think Goku Black showed off a lot of the damage that he can do, and so I think that's a pretty good starting point for good old Goku Black. I think he did a pretty stellar job. We'll move into the second match, and yeah, we should get a pretty good idea of how well he does here as well. But I think overall, you can definitely see how he can do some damage. He needs a little bit of beef around him. I think I definitely need to work on how tanky the other members of the team are, but yeah, he can do a huge amount of damage. And then we have another match here, and I think he does a very good job here. Overall, I think he shows off a lot of more of the damage that he can do. The collected damage, the AoE damage, I think, which is all very impressive, at least for me. I think it's very, very good. And yeah, it's damage that is quite quantifiable. The AoE factor also helps out a lot in whittling your opponent's bench, which can add up over time. We're going to try him out as the opening unit this time, because why not? And then we'll basically see how, everything goes all together. Realistically speaking, I think he's very, very good. And I think, you can build a super stellar team around him. So I don't really have an issue with Goku Black. I do wish the red Goku Rose had a bit of a better kind of awakening. But I think overall he looks pretty good. So we're getting the bleed here, which is really, really helpful. You can see those stacks building up nicely. We're going to get the ultimate move, and that's going to do some good damage and some good bench damage. So straight away, you can kind of see some really, really solid bench damage occurring, and we're able to kind of get some really, really good opening salvos of damage. And Goku Black's just going to take a chill pill for a bit, and then we'll switch him back in. We do have the ability to cover change strike, which does help, but obviously cover change isn't his major mechanism, but it is helpful. So I think overall it's a very, very, very good Zenkai. I like it a lot. I think it's a very, very reliable Zenkai. I think it's very, very strong, and I love to see how good he is as a unit. I think for me it's really elevated my interest in the Goku Black team, which does help. And I'm working on this Goku Black team, and I think it's going to come together nicely. I still have some Zenkai levels to get on the units. For example, I can still Zenkai 7 the Merge Zamasu, who will give even more buffs to Goku Black, which is pretty big. And I'm still working on their equipment, going to Z+, all of them. So overall, I think they are pretty good. I think Goku Black is definitely a great signature headliner LF. I think he's good in the current meta. The bleed, the AoE damage, nullification of health restoration effects, all of it is very good for the current meta. And like I said, him being strike does help out a lot in terms of managing the current meta and just, handling everything to do with it. So overall I'd say he looks really, really impressive. I think for the most part a very, very solid Zenkai, and I think if you do have him, consider building a team around him. I think it could be a lot of fun for you, and I think you could end up having a pretty good time. But that is pretty much gonna be it from me. We managed to get the win, which is really, really awesome. And I think that's everything you need to see. You can see the huge damage he does. So if that's not enough reason to bring him, then I don't know. Maybe you need to look at units for other reasons beyond damage and winning fights. So that's it from me. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you want to suggest equipment or team builds, please do down below. I'd love to hear them, and of course other people can see them. But bye.